Hey everybody, it's Stephen and Frederick with How I Cook. My guest today is Alice Hughes. A couple episodes ago, she was a guest and she's back. Always happy to have her. It's Sunday morning. We've had a great weekend together, but you can see I just got up. My hair is all funky and all. Alice, of course, looks beautiful. So we're going to make a couple of easy recipes that you can also do on a Sunday morning when you get up for your crowd. The first thing we're going to do is a pecan cake. Some people say pecan, some people say pecan. All I say is it's really delicious. Okay, so we're using a round cake pan. A lot of times people don't have these. Feel free to get one at the dollar store. You can wash them out and reuse them so they don't end up in a landfill immediately. But this is an old one from my grandmother Lapsley that we're going to be using. We're also going to be putting parchment in the bottom of the pan so it comes out easily. This is a step you really don't want to skip. But we have a square piece of parchment and a round pan. Alice, do you know one of the tricks?
I know my trick, but my trick apparently isn't good enough. So we're going to learn your trick. We want everyone to know your tricks in the kitchen, not mine.
Because this is
how you cook.
How I cook. So what you do is you fold it like a triangle. You fold it like a triangle, and you just keep folding it like a triangle. Fold it like a triangle one more time. Nah, that'll be pretty good. And what you do is you lay it so that the point is in the center. You then cut around the edge. Voila!
Very clever. I thought we were making snowflakes.
A round that fits in the bottom. Now, what we want to do is still use spray. We're going to put the spray on the sides because the cake will touch the sides where the parchment isn't. And then put the parchment in. No need to spray it again. So, our pan is all ready. This is an extremely easy recipe. Why don't you start with the 1/4 cup of brown sugar, packed, and a 1/4 cup of softened butter. 1/4 cup is half a stick, so. And why don't you start mixing that?
May I use the mixer?
Yes, that's why it's there.
Thank you.
We don't have to cream the butter. Creaming the butter is where you totally incorporate the sugar, it gets light, it gets fluffy. We're just mixing it together. That's good. Next, we're going to add 1 egg. That's good. A teaspoon of vanilla. This is how I cook. I don't really measure the vanilla. That's around a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of salt, again. That's good enough. Good. A teaspoon of baking soda. I didn't realize we didn't have baking soda, and it's Sunday morning, so I went to the cabinet, and there was none there. Checked on the internet to see, hey, what's a good substitute? A good substitute is 3 teaspoons. We need a teaspoon, I'm sorry. 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Why? The leavening in baking powder is not as strong as in baking soda, so that's why it's 3-to-1. So it normally would be 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Good. Another reason we're making this cake is, here's a cup of buttermilk. A lot of times you have a recipe, you buy a quart of buttermilk, and you have so much of it left over. This was left over. I froze it. Can you freeze buttermilk? Absolutely. When you thaw it out, it will separate. You just stir it together, and there's your cup of buttermilk. So, good. And now I'm going to put 1.5 cups of flour in. There we go. I'm first going to stir it to get it a little moistened so it doesn't fly all over, and scrape the sides. And then Alice can start mixing it. I have an oven preheating to 350 degrees right now. It's already preheated, so all good.
One more
time.
Is there an ejector?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So I'm now going to put the batter in the prepared baking pan.
It's tasty too.
It's tasty too. It is quite thick. But do you see how easy that was? If everybody's still sleeping on a Sunday morning, except for you, you can even do this by hand, so you won't wake them with the mixer. I'm sure the smell eventually will wake them.
Right, the pecan alarm clock. Pecan cake alarm clock, as opposed to the bacon alarm clock or the scrapple alarm clock, depending on where you live.
So, why am I doing this? To get the air bubbles out?
Yep. When did you become a good baker?
I think when I started doing How I Cook.
You've always been a good cook, but baking was never really in the wheelhouse.
So there we go. Why are we calling it pecan cake? We're going to put this in the oven for 50 minutes. At the 40-minute mark, we're going to put a topping on and then finish it for the last 10 minutes. And it's mainly pecans.
Yum.
Okay, we'll see you back in a minute or two once we get the ingredients for the topping.
For Franny.
Okay, we're back. We're ready to make the topping for the pecan cake. I misspoke previously. It's in the oven for 30 minutes. Then we put the topping on for the last 10. So it's a total of 40 minutes. The other thing I didn't point out, I don't think, when I was doing the last segment is light brown sugar. We use brown sugar in the cake. We're using brown sugar in the topping. It's light brown sugar. So, no mixer, except my friend Alice, who will be the mixer. 3 tablespoons melted butter. Do you want to scrape some of that out?
Mm-hmm. Done.
Perfect. 2 tablespoons, half and half. A 1/4 cup light brown sugar. Sorry, packed.
That's why we wear aprons.
That's why we wear aprons. This is an apron that Alice bought for the guest chefs. So if you come and cook with me, you also will wear this. I bought fabric marker. So after each person does a guest shot, they will sign the apron. So that'll be pretty cool. Looking pretty good.
Yep.
An 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Again, there, 1/8 teaspoon.
That was a generous
Yeah.
teaspoon.
3/4 cup of pecans. Pecans, delicious.
Pecan. Okay.
Does this remind you of anything?
I think I'm thinking of pralines.
Yes, me too.
And I would like to eat them just like that. Are we sure we need to have the cake involved?
I don't know if you ever made pralines at home or if you've been to New Orleans. Pralines are delicious, and this has the flavor profile of pralines.
Smells too. Smell the aroma.
So we have around 14 minutes till we're going to put this on top of the cake. So we'll be back in a little and do it. Okay, we're back. It's been around 30 minutes. I'm going to take the cake out of the oven. And it looks really white. That's okay. Alice is now going to pour the topping that she mixed on top of it and spread it. So why don't we call this praline cake?
I don't know. Why
Or,
don't we?
as in the South, they say praline. I'm sorry, Southerners. I didn't mean to offend with
I was wondering if that might have been South Baltimore or South Philly.
South Philly. It didn't sound like south of the Mason-Dixon line.
It did not. Well, if it was South Baltimore, I guess that is.
You could always put more pecans when you're making it at home. Or, if you don't like pecans, use walnuts. Use almonds. Use whatever nuts you like. So we're going to put it back in the oven for around 10 more minutes. We have around 10 minutes. We're going to prep our next dish and get it in the oven. And then we'll take out the cake. So everybody's still asleep. The smell of pecans has not made its way up the steps. We're going to make pancakes. Rather than making individual pancakes and the first one's bad and this person's done eating before this person gets there, these are pancakes. Baking dish, parchment. No surprise or special way to put the parchment on, but what we're going to do this time, rather than putting the spray under the parchment, Alice is going to put the spray on top of the parchment. This is 4 cups of pancake mix. I'm using Wegmans, use Bisquick, use whatever you want. Why don't you pour that in? Also, I said we're using up buttermilk. This is a cup of buttermilk and a cup of regular milk mixed together. So, cup of buttermilk, cup of regular milk. Why don't you put that in?
Can I have something to stir? Are we using that?
We're using the same thing.
That's fine.
It has some of the pecan juice. That's okay. We're not using a mixer. Pancakes you don't want to overmix.
Correct.
A few lumps, that's fine.
Is this eggs next?
Eggs.
How many eggs?
4 eggs that I have already beaten. Let me know when you want them in.
I want them. Thank you. Ready for vanilla, for sure.
Tablespoon of vanilla, again. Tablespoon, good enough.
Here we go.
2 more items.
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Sugar,
And,
a little salt.
and,
I don't know. Baking soda, baking powder,
no.
fruit,
Hold on.
chocolate chips.
Hush. You'll cut this out, Jimmy.
No, it's fun.
It's not fun. Oh, good.
Should I do the Jeopardy theme song?
A 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. salt. And a 1/4 cup of sugar. I don't want to use this because it had Earl in it. That's oil. This is a 1/2 cup, and that's about 1/2 of a 1/2 cup. Let's make sure it's sugar and not salt. I've made that mistake before. It's sugar. I forget what I once made.
Would you really keep salt in a jar so large?
Yes, Alice, I would.
Okay.
And that's it. So she's mixing it up. Just to read again: pancake mix, eggs, granulated sugar, vegetable oil, vanilla extract, milk, and buttermilk.
Our pan, please.
Our baking pan with parchment that has been sprayed.
Okay. How'd I do? Did I stir it too much?
No, you did a
I
wonderful
see
job.
lumps there. That's good.
Here we go. So again, we're just going to shake it, drop it, get any bubbles out, let it go to the edges. And this way, all your pancakes are going to be ready at the same time.
What a great and clever idea.
So I surveyed the crowd, the crew behind the camera, Alice and myself, to see if we wanted blueberries on our pancakes. We could easily put blueberries here. Did we want pecans? We could easily put pecans here. I know kids like chocolate chips. But everybody today said, nah, we're just in the mood for plain. But these are always options for you. Had an oven preheating to 425. Luckily, I have 2 ovens. Well, it's a studio, so of course we do. 425. This is going to go in the 425 oven for 14 to 16 minutes. We're also going to check the pecan cake right now. Hold on. Nope. Not yet.
No,
But do you smell it?
I do.
Mm.
It smells really good.
It smells very good. So we're just going to take a break now, clean everything up, get ready to serve, and enjoy these wonderful buttermilk recipes. Okay, welcome back. I took the pecan cake out of the oven between 5 and 10 minutes ago. It needs to cool for 20 minutes, but we're going to let it continue to cool on this plate. Let's see if the parchment worked. Thank you. The parchment did work. And here's more of the praline. So, by now, everybody would be making their way down the steps. This house smells wonderful. We'll put this over here to let it cool a little longer. Alice is more than just beautiful. She's also very smart. We were talking, and I said, I'm glad we had vegetable oil. If not, I would use butter. And Alice said,
Do you have extra light virgin olive oil? Extra light virgin olive oil can be substituted for vegetable oil, And in fact, I find it's better than vegetable oil for baking.
So not even if you're out of vegetable oil, this is Alice's go-to. So you may want to try it as well. And let's check the pancakes. Oh my goodness. There we go.
That's great.
So, all the pancakes are ready. All at once. The kids come down. I'm hungry. Dad comes down. He's hungry. Lord knows you're hungry. The crew behind the camera right now, they're hungry.
The dogs are hungry.
Everybody's hungry. It's Sunday morning. So, let's cut one here.
I think these would be great for breakfast for dinner too. I find that when I do breakfast for dinner, I'm stuck at the stovetop cooking the pancakes while the rest of the crew eats. So I think this would be good for breakfast for dinner.
Look at how easily it comes out.
They're beautiful.
Golden brown.
Very light and fluffy too.
Very light and fluffy. And what are we serving with them?
Sausage.
Some sausage links that I put in a baking dish and I baked for around 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Easy squeezy. And of course, syrup and butter. Don't forget, you can put pecans, any sort of fruit to make chocolate chips. These a flavored pancake. So I'd like to thank Alice for coming again and being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully you enjoyed pecan cake and pancakes with sausage. Thank you, dear. Take care.